People tell me like I act like a pick me girl. That's what they call it when girls are defending or women are defending men. Because I cannot stand when women like basically shit on men. I don't like it. I love men. When I say I love men, I mean in my life, my father has been a good father in my life. I respect and love them. My brothers, I love them. I respect and love them. My husband, my kids are boys. I have friends that are good men. So for women to come up and say men are trash or treat them like they're just bank ATM cards, that gets to me for real, for real. Hey fam, hope you're doing well wherever you are. I am here with the one and only Kellen Kash, and I want us to talk about or address something very important, I believe, in this day and age. And it is about, Kellen?
High value. And we're going to talk about high value men, women, and marriage.
Yep. So, the reason why we want to talk about this is, first of all, it's different perspective. Kellen is in the US, born and raised. I am from Africa, in Ethiopia to be specific, born and raised. So obviously, we're not going to have the same opinion. But at the same time, what is going on in the social media streets right now, especially now, the hot topic is high value this, high value that. And I think it's really important to hear from the marriage aspect of high value, especially successful marriage. So, Kellen, tell us, what is high value marriage?
Well, high value marriage is a marriage where, both partners have come together and have aligned purposes. And I say that because we hear, through the YouTube streets what high value men are. They earn six figures, they have a high network, they have an influence of friends. But I think that there's a fallacy in that, because just because you make more money does not mean that you are, at the upper echelons or you're an intellectual. What you read and the circles that you're around. I know plenty of people with money who aren't invited to certain, clubs because they're lowbrow individuals. And they worry more about a Birka bag than they do about which book just came out to make them more money. So high value marriage, that's where everybody, that high value men, they want to have a high value marriage. They want to have this woman that they are working with to have, possibly a family. We understand not everyone can have kids. Not everybody wants kids. But you and I, we can talk about this because we are in these things. We're both married. I've been married for 14 years this year. And I've known my wife for 18, 19. And, we do fine for ourselves. And that's the whole point. That's the key. How do our people, especially, Wongel, I want to ask you, how do they listen to single people on how to be married? It started even back when I was a kid. You were not even born when Oprah was around. And you got Oprah telling people how to get into marriage, and she ain't never been married. She's been in a long-term relationship, but she's never been, as far as we know, married. And then you hear people giving financial advice. Just because they're on camera with a Rolls Royce does not mean that they're a qualified or sophisticated investor, is what we call it here in America, meaning they have a high net worth, even of $1 million. If you don't even have a net worth of $1 million, how can you talk and preach so boldly to tell someone how to get money? So that's why we're having this conversation, because we're talking about marriage amongst people who are married, people who make money. Wongel never talks about her husband, but I can tell you guys, if you see him on the news in Kenya, don't be shocked. But we won't spill the beans on that one. But that's why we're here, to talk about high value and high value marriage, knowing that we're all made in God's perfect, wonderful vision.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack, but let me share with you my perspective of this. I agree with people preaching high value marriage maybe without being in it. But also, some people might argue that some individuals that are in a relationship that say that they have the perfect relationship. I'm a God-fearing man and I'm with this woman and I raise my kids, and they tell you that your stretch marks are just I don't want to get into the details, but there are men that are married that are also selling, I feel like a pipe dream, and it's not for me. I'm not concerned. You are right. It makes sense. Somebody needs to be married, correct? Like at least to know the ins and outs, or at least have a successful marriage. I get that. But I also get the other side. I can be married and I can just lie to you and tell you things that are not true, right? We can agree on that.
Yeah, we definitely can agree on that.
Yes, my main issue, to be honest with you, is when it comes to this topic, it it is pushed on one side to a point where it feels like a hatred towards a certain group, because I can preach to you something without making the other one the devil. And that's how I feel like right now, because I see men um, in those comment sections, and they're just so cruel towards women, and they are so, I don't know, against respecting the female gender, period. So I feel like it's not balanced. I feel like we need someone that says, wait a minute, yes, there are women that just want your money. There are women that are just there for the lifestyle, women that will accept infidelity, all this stuff. But is that the majority of women? That confuses me, because in my reality, or the people around me, or the experience I've had, women are not like that. There are women like that, yes, but from watching these videos or subjective concepts, even me, I feel like sometimes I'm like, that's how we are. That's how the world turned right now. Like it's so foreign to me, that concept that it's all about the money, or it's about the status. And for me, it's going to change the dynamics, but I don't think it will make it neutral. I think in the future it's going to make us go against each other, and I don't think that's where the answer lies.
Well, there are incels, and you've reported on incels, and those, people don't have an option for whatever those reasons are. Usually it's internally, and I think all of us can benefit from therapy. I have it basically weekly, right? With a therapist. But you have incels who can't get someone and won't go get help, and those people probably have had some type of trauma. They've probably, those men you're talking about, because there's a whole thing of the manosphere, but then you have like the incel manosphere, and the people, all they have is something negative to say about women, and then you find out it's because they don't have a woman, or they can't go out and get a woman. Or the word keep is kind of funny when people say you can't keep a man or you can't keep a woman. I don't like that, because people aren't to be kept. They're not, porcelain statues or whatnot. But you have people who have so much hurt, and it comes out in their videos that sometimes that's their only release to the world. You ask yourself, what were these people before they were, known to have a status on a YouTube or a TikTok, right? Or what was even Oprah before she was Oprah? So we have to meet people where they're at. The issue in what you're saying is beating down on women and making women seem, because you're maybe out of shape or you have stretch marks. Kendrick Lamar said it best in Humble, I'm so tired of the Photoshop. Show me something real. and he said some blank and some stretch marks. You know, he was saying some behind it. I mean, real men don't care about stretch marks. And you can build a woman right now. You can build a man. You can go have surgery and look like however you want. We're really living in the Twilight Zone or Black Mirrors, you know, season 3, episode 1. So to base everything off looks is like stupid to me. It means you haven't been around enough. And then to base everything off money. A man can make money, a woman can make money, and they can lose it tomorrow. And many people do. Look at the NFL, the NBA. Somebody has a $40 million contract. In 5 years, he's broke. So it's not about the money. It's really about in life how much you can save and invest and how much you can keep. But I think that people are showing who they are when they're showing, oh man, the woman has to look like this and she has to be this dress size and that dress size. No, she doesn't. I like a thicker woman personally. I'll butter you up. Like you remember the 3 pigs? You know, I'm gonna butter you. I'm gonna butter you up. Or Hansel and Gretel, the thing.
Oh,
I'm gonna get you. You know, no, I want something that doesn't look like it's on Vogue, because I am a Black man who has been through around the world, almost around the whole world, and I like a real woman. And I know wherever you go, women, they don't have to take diet pills. Women are beautiful just because they're women. And then it's when people open their mouth, that shows you how, you know, really smart someone is and their intelligence. And that's a whole different type of beauty. And that's the beauty that I'm looking for if I'm ever in the hospital in a surgery. And I need someone to make sure that, you know, my finances are taken care of and my health is taken care of. That's the conversation that should be had. We have too many single doctors and nurses that are intelligent that could really be power couples for the right men. But you got to be ready. What do you think about any of that?
I agree with you. Although I won't say looks don't matter, because as a human being, the first thing you see and the first thing you might be attracted to might be the way a person looks. But at the same time, when they open their mouth and you start the conversation, if that person is just not meeting you there, or it's just the conversation is not flowing, or that person's value and principles just doesn't go with you, yes, you can drop them. But what throws me off is the fact that everything is about the looks. I understand. First impression is the looks. I don't know if you're a good person by just looking at you, or if you have a good heart, or, you know, genuinely, if we're going to be compatible. When you start speaking to me is when I can understand. So my issue with the current conversation that is going on is it's just looks. But then I'm like, I'm waiting to hear, okay, I agree on that if you're not attracted to her, of course. But then I'm waiting. I don't hear anything about what kind of person that they want. It's usually, can you cook? Can you clean? Can you take care of the household when I go out? And I'm like, that's it. That's it. That's all she can bring to the table. And I understand some women don't make it easier for this argument, because I was just talking about PJ Washington and his wife Brittany. She just left with his baby and he's crying online. Although she already has a clip online before they ever met saying that NBA players are dumb. You just need to go get yourself pregnant and then take their money. Like, she literally said that. And this man knew, still went with her because she's hot. And now he's paying the price. She's going to take millions from him. So now we're still going to blame her? Like, she literally told you what she's about. She never hid that. She never pretended. So I'm like, so that's your example? Like, they use her to attack other women. And I'm like, but she told you what she's about. She told you what she's into. And the man still went ahead and picked her out of all the women he could have picked. And now they're saying, women, see, this is what you are. And I'm like, the audacity. Come on. If it's just based on looks, this is what you're going to get. If it's just based on if you're really hot and you're satisfying me and you're okay with my infidelity and you can cook, okay, fine, deal. And then what happens? And then you're going to blame all women for what this girl that actually told you what she is and who she is, and just blame us and say those things about us.
In the words of, Vicky Diller, talk black to me. Black folks need to, especially, and we're going to talk black. Black folks need to stop looking at what the surface is, because if it's not the looks for one person, then it's the money. And there's some men too who are gold diggers as well, and there's some women too who look for looks as well. Like, things have really, like, we're really in a different space, but looks should not be the factor of why you have a child with someone. And we've heard people say, oh, I had a child because they look like this. I've heard women say that, oh, because he had pretty eyes, and vice versa. There's a book by Joseph L. Graves called The Empire's New Clothes: Biological Theories of Welfare. You guys can Google it, check it out, whatever. And he talks about how traditionally other cultures, non-black especially, how they pick their mates, and how black people, especially in America, how they're picking their mates, and how even hip size can add into that. Think about when arranged marriages were there and how arranged marriages lasted so long. It wasn't about the looks. It was about the family structure and being able to build up. Now, I'm not for arranging marriage, because I don't think nowadays, for it still goes on, but I've talked to people and, some people are happy. Some people, that's all they know. But looks weren't the thing. You had to be married to this person because of the family history, the dynasty. And those people, no matter what they look like and their attraction, they made it work. So right now we're living in such a superficial, what brand is that? What am I driving? What's that new phone that I have that I don't even know how to work it all the way, but I have to have it so I feel like I've made it. Like, there's research on all this. And because of the position that I'm in professionally, I know how much money the businesses spend to make people, like, brainwashed. We're brainwashed, especially in America. I don't know if, where you're in Kenya, because I know you are, hang around the Westlands and all that, how in tuned Africa is to, it has to be this. When I'm in Africa, I see every type of knockoff, and I'm like, okay, I love it, because they have the brand, but they didn't pay the price. But if you're picking someone off looks alone or money alone, your relationship's not going to last, folks. Because again, like Wongel said, the character of the person. Wongel, what was it for your husband that attracted you initially? I just got to put you on the spot like that. What was it for you to make? Yeah, I got to do it.
You're really putting me on the spot, and I don't like talking about my personal life, but just Kellen. To be honest, it was his personality, 100% his personality for me. But with that being said, my main concern is then the next generation. When they grow up now, all they know is, if you don't buy me a Birkin, go find yourself another girlfriend. Or from the other side, if I have money, you just come here, be my wife, cook, clean, and shut up. I'll go date somebody else, and that's okay. Like, I want somewhere in the middle. Like, I want someone that is neutral, that cares both for women and men. Kellen, I've said this in my previous video. I love both men and female. If anything, men and women. If anything, people tell me, like, I act like a pick-me girl. That's what they call it when girls are defending, or women are defending men. Because I cannot stand when women like basically shit on men. I don't like it. I love men. When I say I love men, I mean, in my life, my father has been a good father in my life. I respect and love them. My brothers, I love them. I respect and love them. My husband, my kids are boys. I have friends that are good men. So for women to come up and say men are trash or treat them like they're just bank, um, ATM cards, that gets to me for real, for real. And I'm just a woman. It's not like I'm a man. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, go ahead, fix this problem. And I'm supporting this man talking about, we need to lower our standards and just be, just let's live in reality. I'm like, oh, I'm with you. You're right. Tell those girls it's not just about Birkenbacks. It's not just about material things. It's not just about, um, in bed he has to be this way, that way. That's not the whole thing. And I get it, and I appreciate those people that talk about that. But then again, they never balance it. They never talk about the other side. That means all their followers, they're like, oh yes, you're right, women are this way. No, those specific, I would say, percentage wise, I don't even think it's a whole lot of them. I can be wrong. I didn't do any study on that. I'm just saying, from the people I know, the people that surround me, or the people that are actual people, not celebrities. We're not talking about celebrities, reality shows and stuff. If you just consume that, that's what you're going to believe. Women are this way and men are this way. But if there's no balance, if the women, which is, let's call it toxic feminism, if they keep talking and putting down men and attacking masculinity, and then the other side in retaliation, if they're just going to put down women, how in the world are we going to live in harmony, and how are we going to have the high value marriage we're talking about? That's my main issue and concern in today's world.
So how we're going to have it is you are going to have a segment that are always going to be single. Like the scriptures say, the poor will be with you always. The scriptures also talk about, a man who finds a good wife, not a wife, but a good wife. That becomes harder and harder. Sometimes, the older you get, because some people can get bitter, and that's what we're seeing online. People are showing their bitterness. They're complaining about the complaints from women about men, and how and nagging on men, but at the same time nagging and ragging on women. So it's like you're doing the same thing. So to get into a high value marriage, I would say stop watching men or women bash one another. That's not your show to watch, because your show to watch is something practical, something loving. If you are, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, or everything, else, find something that's in your tribe. Read more books. I always tell people, read a book a week in your subject that you like. Watch your life change, for the better. And that's how you're going to find better people. I can tell when someone doesn't have good friends or any friends. Wongel, that there are people who don't have friends. You can tell people in their lifestyle, like they don't have friends. And you can tell by the way they talk and the way that they walk. Sometimes myself, I'll go out to eat by myself because that's my me time, because I have so many people pulling me here and there, whether it's my children, my wife, friends, family. But sometimes I say, let me just sit by myself and make sure I'm still good with me. And some people, that's all that they have, because nobody wants to be around them because they're not a good friend. To be a good friend, you have to be a good friend. And a lot of people, when you're with a friend, some people will wait for you to pick up a bill. I actually have some people in my circle. They know I'm going to pay the bill, And I have some friends too who do highly well, where they know they have to pay the bill. That's where their mind is trained. They have to pay the bill. And even when I try to pick up the tip, oh no, Kelly, you know how it. No, I'm not your date. I'm your friend, and you're gonna at least let me tip, and we're gonna trade off, because this is a friendship, and I don't care how much money you make. I want to show you that I'm not here for that. I'm not here for a free meal. So that ragging and tagging to, make sure people get the game, stop listening to it. I watch some of the stuff because it's comedy to me, Wongel. I have a nice glass of wine or scotch, bourbon or whatever, and I'm just like, who are these people? And why would you listen to a broke person talking about money or a single person talking about marriage? And you could say, oh, well, that person had been married before. They didn't know how to keep it together. So why are you watching that? There's so many people online who have kept their marriage together, and they are giving you tools and jewels. And if you don't know those people, send a comment in the comments. Ask a question. Who, where? Hit us up in the DMs and ask who could I be watching? And that's who you could tune into. And keep watching segments like this that Wongel and I do, because we'll give you the keys. But you got to get off the toxic stuff, because Wongel, you know this. When you do a story full of drama, Karens, Kevins, and everybody else in between, it gets more views than if you do a positive story about, a 13-year-old millionaire like Christian the Truth Jones, or whomever, Jermaine Dupri, who you've interviewed, so, I mean, folks got to get their mind right. And so maybe you're single because of you and what you're watching and what you're reading and who you're around. That's just my, 2 cents though.
Yeah, I understand. And I'm guilty of it. It's entertaining, right? Like, reality shows, they're toxic AF, but they're entertaining, right? So, I'm not even going to point finger at people, because I am the exact same way, but I am trying, or it's an effort. Like, I'm really doing my best not to consume those kind of toxic TV shows or music even, or movies, or in general videos on that, because I gotta admit, I used to watch plenty of those people you might be talking about, and I started noticing change in myself, the way I looked at myself, and I'm like, is that it? Is that what a woman is all for and about? Seriously, Kellen, I'm being for real. I had to stop myself from watching those videos, not necessarily because I thought that person was bad or didn't have valid points, but it gets extreme. It's never balanced, and it just didn't work out for me personally. But I'm sure other people can watch it and still not be affected by it. But I just stopped. To add to your previous point, what single people or other people can do is have someone that you really admire. Have someone tell you how their journey was to finding that person, especially if that person is in a relationship. You pursue that person, ask them questions, or at least try and see and imitate what they're doing. Not necessarily copy and paste and do everything that they're doing. I'm just saying, take their good, bad, you can just weed out, and that's fine. So my biggest advice would be, and what helped me, is look at healthy relationships. I know the other side is entertaining. Maybe we can watch it, as you said, with a glass of wine, and that's okay, just to see what the people are talking about right now. But focus on the people that actually made it, that actually are still with that someone that they still adore. There are people that are in a relationship that are miserable, and that's a fact. There are people that are miserable in their relationship, not them. I'm saying the people that you know. For example, if you have parents that are still together, ask questions. In Africa, the issue is, it's not you. Transparency is zero, especially with your parents, because you're afraid to ask these questions. And I'm guilty of that. Mm-hmm. It's just so hard for you to make them open up and ask about their relationship. My mom actually blushes when I ask her like how it was and how she knew. She's like, don't ask me those things. And I'm like, but I need to know, tell me. So ask questions. If you come from a broken home or single parent, it's still okay. You can break that chain. You don't always have to repeat your father's and your grandparents' mistake. You can be the one that get to have the best life that everyone else couldn't have. It is possible. It's going to be work. Of course, you have to work hard at it, and you have to distinguish the fake from the real one. As I said, there were men that were in a relationship that were advising women, capitalizing on it, that had horrible marriage, that cheated on their wives, and they were caught, right? And there are men that are not even in a relationship, and they still tell you things tell you things like do this, do that. And there are also women that are single and they advise their girls, it's fine, there's still time, and that's a lie, right? And there are women that are in horrible relationship telling um, the young ones, stay in that relationship, it will be okay, instead of giving her the tools, telling her do this, do that. And then, by the way, there's always ABCD, but then there's also just ending it. I'm not for marriage ending at all. I'm just saying there's sometimes a case where it's life and death. So my main message is, try and find that person that you admire, like you want to aim up and see if what they do is actually can actually work for you. And if it does, good, do your best. And then sometimes you aim high and then you reach that level and you always have to maybe keep looking upwards, and that's fine as long as you're aiming high. Just aim high and choose a better person, a better, if you're like a newly couple, or if you're dating someone or you don't understand what the dating scene is like, find someone that dated during this time. Maybe your parents might not be the best choice. Maybe like your friends that they found love on the internet, like Tinder, and they're still making it work. Try and identify what exactly you are looking for and try to imitate it until you understand how everything goes. Because even in high value marriage, there's going to be conflicts, disagreements, difference of opinions, right? All these things exist. It's how you manage them, cope with them, communicate. All these things you can learn from someone that actually went through them. You don't necessarily have to go through years of not understanding, because as much as human beings are different, every individual is different, there are some things that generalize us. Women tend to be certain way and men tend to be certain way. So if you understand the characters of a man, you kind of will get why your husband does the things he does or treats you the way he does. That understanding will help you now in a different disagreement. You will, treat that disagreement differently than you would have if you didn't have that understanding. All I'm saying is, pick someone that is doing well in that relationship realm. That is, if you want to be in a relationship, and try and see what they're doing that is making them successful. Do it. Communicate. One other thing I want to add, communication is key, because men or women are different, and some things, if you don't discuss and if you don't understand where the other person is coming from, there is going to be drama in the house. So all I'm gonna say is, watch out for who you're looking at, because it might take you down a road where you just won't be happy, and just it's worth investigating who you follow, I think.
Amen. Amen. And when you find that person, like I know, Tabitha Brown made news because she went out and said she retired her husband. And folks went in, oh, and just in a big thing. But that man was a police officer putting his life on the line every day. Do you think he's eating bonbons and popcorn every day now that he doesn't have to be a police officer? No, he's probably helping her in her business or doing a business of his own. So try not to judge the people you see getting it right. Then the media vilifies them, because the media sometimes has to do their job too and get ratings and get views, and has to, we got to do what they got to do. I have a trick though, and I say this can work for men. And if you're a woman, because you talk about watching those shows, I ban those shows in my house as much as a man can ban anything to an adult, right? But this is how you do it, guys. Because you say, she will watch it, she'll binge watch it, she'll watch it all weekend. I did this over 6-7 years ago, because Wongel, when you were watching those shows, all your sisters and your cousins and your friends were watching it, so you're talking about it. Now I watch certain things in the manosphere at night because I know or have talked to certain influencers, and I love to see their growth, and I love to see how people change for the good and for the worse. And I love some of talking points that I hear in the manosphere. And then I say, I wish this was balanced out more. But if you want to stop your spouse from watching shows, leave the room when they're watching it. Don't watch it with them. And men, this will work for you 100% of the time. Maybe it will work for you women as well. If you leave the room, okay, maybe she keeps watching it. Leave the house. I bet you she'll be curious for all the time that she's watching TV, where you're at, what fulfilled your time. And you'll start getting a call or a text. And all you have to do is say, oh, I noticed you were watching your show. When you're done with that and we can spend some quality time doing something we both enjoy, I'll be back. That's it. Where am I? Personally, I don't have to answer those questions. Everybody's relationship is different, but I don't have a, check in, check out, who you with. I just don't have those issues. Marry an African is what I would say. And not all Africans are going to be the same, but marry, yeah. But
I
also,
didn't say that in case people think I'm making you say that. Nope, I have nothing to say with what he's saying. Continue.
yes, okay, and also know who you are while you get in a marriage, because you get to set the tone, especially if you are a quote unquote high value man. I don't care if you're even a broke value man, you're still high value if you believe that you have the potential. But set your standards and say, this is what I do. Nobody checks my phone unless I hand you my phone, and I don't got a password on my phone, right? But if that does not work, then I guess you got a lot of free time to explore, do a hobby, go fishing, go shooting, whatever you like to do, whatever. And maybe that's your time to zone out, and that's her time to zone out. I don't like the mood changes that it brings to my house. Therefore, yeah, that, I don't like it. And even when I'm watching the Manosphere and I'm telling my wife, she can't stand certain characters in the Manosphere because she's like, they're not qualified to even talk about those things. But her being such a genius, like really a genius, she says that about a lot of people. She's like, they shouldn't talk about healthcare if they haven't even received any type of medical training. So that's a whole another thing. But I hope that helps you guys to understand not everybody has the same rules in their relationship, and that maybe you can get her or him to watch something different if you leave the room or leave the house and have them miss you a little bit.
Okay, I think that's a bit of manipulation.
Hey.
but, but I'm glad it worked out for you. Yeah, I still sometimes watch those.
Wongel, you use it too. If you're honest with yourself, you use manipulation in your relationship.
I really don't.
Yeah,
I really don't.
No. Manipulation is used in every relationship, even in business. Okay, manipulation is, people try to use that as a bad word, but manipulation. Let's go to the definition. Right, the definition of the word: to handle or to control, and typically it's in a skillful manner. You're just using skill. Now, I get it. My job as a consultant and a sports agent and a publicist, my brain works a little different. But if it is manipulation, I need to get what I need to get. And if let's say for women, your man isn't giving you enough attention and all he wants to watch his sports, you put on some lingerie, you put on a nice outfit, and you sit right there and be in front of that TV. And if you don't become the show, then you got a bigger problem. You really need therapy, right? You have a different problem. Maybe he has ED, but there's still some things he can do to make sure that you're happy. Hello, she should be finished before that man gets started. That's where I'll keep it PG on Wongel's show.
Okay. Yes. So I think we agree on most things. Some things is a difference of opinion, and that's perfectly okay. And all we want, I think what we agree on is we want harmony. We want that high value marriage, and we want someone to focus on the positive aspect of things. Where is the good wife? Where is the good husband? And how do you make it work? There are bad apples, sure, we can agree on that. But instead of just glorifying and putting a light on them, let's also include, okay, that's entertaining, but let's also talk about how people can have good relationships, good marriage. And that's a big one for me, because I don't want us to hate each other. There's no point to that. Life is more awesome and wonderful and beautiful when we work together. And I feel like if you're in the right relationship, they make you better. I'm not saying you're just half and you become full when you're together. I'm just saying you're a decent human being, they're a decent human being, but when you come together, you even craft each other better and make each other better people. That's the main thing, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely. Amen. What I told my wife when we were in university together, I told her this is Sprint and Nextel coming together, because at the time the two companies were merging. And so, in certain cultures, one bot and one bot, we're coming together, and that's what it is. Because marriage is also more than just you look good, or I love you, or I love what you can do for me, or how you do it to me. Marriage is a business. And if you don't think so, then I don't think I'd like to see your bank account. And I would say, I'd like to see what your retirement's going to look like, because the way my retirement's going to look like is where I'll never probably stop working if I have my choice, but I won't have to work. And you surely won't see me working, jobs that I look at some seniors and I'm like, man, how did they get there? And I ask them, what did they do in life? Like, that's my issue. And, not a fear, because I've already planned for it to not be like that. And I work hard so I don't have to work certain, jobs, especially a job, unless I really like that job for some reason, right? But I love being an entrepreneur. But if you don't think marriage is a business, I would say that your financial literacy probably isn't that high, because you have to not just manage your finances, but two people's finances. And if you are like me and listening to the scriptures, I need to leave something not just for my kids, but my kids' kids. So it's a business that we're in. We,
I've never looked at it that way, but you make sense. It makes sense. It's a business. I've never looked at it that way. I was like, what? Business, marriage, huh? But when you explain it, it makes sense.
yeah, it's a business. Other people in the comments, let us know. And oh man, that sounds terrible. And where's the love? Oh, there's plenty of love, but I can tell you, most marriages, at least in America, fail because of finances and arguing about finances. I'm very blessed to say I don't have to argue about finances, because we have a respect for each other to say, okay, when you want to buy something over a certain amount, and it's a really like low amount, like $300 or something like that, let's talk about it. And we've had that for the past 14 years. It's never changed. The same way our salaries in the business only go up a small percentage each year or every other year, no matter how much money is made. Because you know what? Money doesn't rot, people. You can invest it. You can do stuff. I can go to Africa and I can wear a wearghana.com shirt. This is a $20 shirt and it looks like it's $100 shirt, right? It looks like it's $1,000 shirt. I got to get on my Trump stuff right now because we are Irish twins. It looks like a shirt that's custom made. And a lot of my clothes are custom made, but I wanted to give a shout out to them. So marriage
Sure.
is a so look at it like that. And marriage is a business, and think about the business plan that you have in your business. And if you don't have a business plan in your business or something like that, and you don't have a ledger in your business, you don't have much of a business. I guarantee. If you don't have a balance sheet and sometimes you got to have a CPA in your business. Sometimes you got to have a therapist in your business of marriage to keep things balanced and have people let you know when you're tripping because you feel like you're the king of Zamunda. That's my
Yeah.
take.
No, I love it. I love it. We can end with that because I agree with you. I mean, I got educated. I didn't I didn't look at it that way. But yes, it does make sense because it's not just about the love and the butterfly feelings because those fade away. And you just have to have a mutual respect for one another, and also the love will turn into genuinely liking that person and just wanting to give them everything. Love is like, oh, like heart shapes going up, and you feel something, and it's just a feeling, I would say. But it just grows. If you're doing it the right way, it grows into respect and liking that person and wanting that person to have everything that you can give them. And so with that, I guess we can end it. Hopefully, in the comment section, people can be more respectful. That's all I ask, because we can have different opinions, and that's perfectly okay. That's how when you talk about it is when you can understand the other's perspective, and like, it's just a different view, a difference of opinion, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all, as long as we're trying to get our message across the same way me and Kellen are talking, respectfully. Just tell us why you disagree. If you agree, tell us why you agree, tell us your experience. And I think this is worth having a conversation over, because this, whatever we'll talk about, will impact the next generation, your kids, our kids, other people's kids, and how the world is going to look like in the future. So thank you so much, Kellen, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us about this, to care enough about our community to talk about high value marriage. And I really highly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We'll see you later. Bye.